For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome in. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort Casino. What a time of year. Round two numbers are out now for the NBA and the NHL playoffs, which we'll concentrate on here as we head out to the Progressive guest line. Nick Alberga joins the program now, host and director of Leafs Morning Take, LeafsNation.com. Follow him on X as well. He's at the Golden Muzzy. Nick, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Guys, my pleasure. I'm jacked up. Round two of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. What's up with you guys?
Yeah, can't wait as well. It's as good as it gets, obviously. We saw it last night again with the ending of that game, the Game 7 on Saturday night. It's just so good. It's special every single year. Let's begin with this. So the Leafs won their division, 108 points in the regular season, most road wins in the Eastern Conference. They have home ice here against Florida. I get it. They made it to the Cup the last 2 years, the defending champs. But they're also laying $1.70, the Panthers are in this series. So you are right in the middle of all this. You've been covering this team forever. How much do you think recent failure in the playoffs has to do with this?
Honestly, not much. I just think you look at the Florida Panthers, and I think they put themselves in cruise control post-trade deadline when they picked up Brad Marchand. Matthew Tkachuk was out post-Four Nations. They're just a really, really good team, and it just shows you, I think part of the reason that price is the way it is because I think a lot of people have jumped in the Florida Panthers, and it happens a lot in pro sports where you just bet on a team so often, there's no more value. And weirdly enough, the Leafs, who are always the favorite, it seems like in every game, every series, are the underdog. And I think they should relish that role. But make no mistake about it, the Leafs are the dog in this series. Would I price it this way? Probably not. I think it's closer than maybe the market suspects right now. But the Panthers definitively the better team. They steamrolled the Tampa Bay Lightning, who a lot of people picked to win the Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. They got depth. They got depth up the middle. They got goaltending. The blue line's really, really good. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough series, but never say never, right?
Do people turn on them and just say, well, great job. You won in Ottawa. Finally, we get back to the second round here. Do the fans and media turn on them if they lose game one?
Likely, yeah.
Okay.
7 hours from now, we'll be discussing that very same thing because I think there's going to be a humbling situation at some point in time, a humbling moment, if you will, where I think people clue in that they're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions. I don't know if it's tonight. I don't know if it's in game two, but I will tell you they better be prepared for this game because the Florida Panthers are so well coached. They're really, really strong on the road. If you recall in round one, they win the first two games at Amalie Arena. It's like home ice does not matter. Positioning in the standings, as we've seen this year, does not matter to this team. But certainly, I think the hope will start to fade. I think of the four respective series, game one matters the most to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they have a bit of a point to prove that they can stick with the Florida Panthers tonight, guys.
Yeah, game one, obviously huge. What about the first goal tonight, too? I would think that is absolutely massive. We were talking about this in the break. Like last night, it's so deflating when a team allows a goal 1 minute into the game. I mean, if that happens, forget about it for the Leafs, right? But I think if they score first tonight, that place is on fire and the players are feeling really, really good about themselves, that could be huge.
Yeah, that's a great, great point because I think that's the biggest difference I've noticed with this team, even in the playoffs under Craig Berube. When they play with the lead, they don't cough it up. If you recall previous iterations of this Maple Leafs team would get involved in wild, wacky, chaotic 7-6 hockey games, specifically in the regular season. But it's been a different tune. In fact, I think they've lost 3 times or 5 times in total, including 3 times in regulation when they hold the lead after 40. So the big numbers I would look at from the Maple Leafs perspective, can they get to 3 goals? The numbers are overwhelmingly in favor of the Maple Leafs when they score 3 goals this season in a game. And do they lead after 2? I talked about the numbers. They don't lose that lead very often, which is, again, weird to say. But I agree. I think just setting the tempo and tone for a series like this one where you know it's going to be difficult, there's going to be some tough moments, it's imperative for success for the Maple Leafs tonight.
It's always a hot ticket, an expensive ticket, and everyone loves hockey in Canada. Do most people just think it's embarrassing and there's just no way They haven't won a cup since '67, and they haven't been past the second round since 2002. That it's completely and utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And honestly, I'm so lucky and fortunate with the job and gig I have to have a press pass because I just can't. Nobody can afford it. That's the insanity of this whole thing, and that's why I think honestly you'll see a lot of Leafs Nation travel to Fort Lauderdale and Sunrise, obviously for Game 3, 4, and maybe 6 of this series. But yeah, it really is astounding. And honestly, I think it takes away because the wrong type of people, not the super fans, are going to the games. And I've been blunt in saying, even though they're my favorite team, they're the team I cover, the home crowd isn't great. So I don't think it's going to be much of a story in this series, quite frankly.
All right. Which players do you want to go to war with tonight? We were talking about this as well with you during the break. This is all narrative here, but it's kind of fun to think about. Marner for the Leafs, right? It's his birthday. Just had a baby as well. So what are we doing here? Do we trust this whole birthday angle?
I'm always careful, guys, and I'll preface by saying I backed Willie Nylander last week in Game 6, his 29th birthday, and he got 2 goals and 1 assist. Having said that, I did play it. I played Marner over a 1.5 tonight. I played the anytime goal for Marner. You just talked about it. I think if there's an angle to look at here in Game 1, it's probably that. Traditionally, he does come out with some pretty decent Game 1s. Like that's usually a spot I bet on Mitch Marner. I believe he scored in Game 1 of the first round series as well against the Ottawa Senators. Certainly something to look at. But I would just add that the Florida Panthers, and you guys will see tonight more likely than not, they just swelter these guys. They have no time and space, and I'm talking about the big boys on the Maple Leafs, and they just keep them to the outside. In the past, it's been very, very perimeter, so that's a big key for the Maple Leafs. Can they get to the center of the ice? Can they get to the dirty areas? Much similar to how the Florida Panthers score goals. I think the Maple Leafs are going to try to do the same thing. But yeah, it's probably the angle I will be playing tonight is Mitch Marner, probably running on fumes right now, which is probably a good thing. No time to think about this series.
Where are you at with special teams, which was a big reason why Florida had success in the Tampa series and also in the regular season against Toronto?
Massive. Discipline was a story in the first round for both sides. I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, this is something that's haunted them, the guys in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But it's been a different tune this year. 6 for 18 in round 1 against the Ottawa Senators. I think it's no secret the Florida Panthers are some of the biggest pests in the league. They're going to try to get under their skin, especially now with Brad Marchand on that roster. So I think the Maple Leafs have to take advantage when they get power plays. And you could say that for every series of Florida. Same type of conversation. There's a bunch of guys in the Maple Leafs that always end up in the box. So there's key ingredients to winning a series. I think discipline will be a big thing, especially when you look at these two squads, guys. They love to be physical, Florida and Toronto.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Nick Alberga, our guest at the Golden Muzzy on X, host and director of Leafs Morning Take, LeafsNation.com. So overall, again, the series price with the Panthers about $1.70 here, Maple Leafs plus 150 in that neighborhood. Is there a way that you want to approach it? Would you consider the Maple Leafs plus a game and a half at around minus 130? Or you made a great case here and you stated it quite well about how good this Florida Panthers team is.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's a really good role for the Leafs. I can't go as far as to say they're going to win this series. A lot needs to go right. I just wonder about getting through to these guys. And then you have Sergei Bobrovsky, but never say never. I mean, we've seen so many things happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Look at those 2 crazy Game 7s. The Maple Leafs are going to have to play really, really well, but they've been working towards this pinnacle all season long. So yeah, I actually think just picking the Leafs outright to win the series, there's really, really good value. Last I checked, around plus 150. I mean, the number is going to change as we get closer, maybe to puck drop, but maybe it's even an angle if the Leafs go down 1-0 in this series, that they mount a comeback. I think there's different spots you can pick, but I would definitely not price the Leafs as the way they're priced right now. I think there's actually really good value in them. There's also really good value in the Washington Capitals, as you guys see, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, here we are in the second round, right? All these home teams are dogs.
I know it's really weird. The Vegas series gets me, and I should preface, I'm the only idiot who took Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup, and I was sweating it the first couple games. Then McDavid and Draisaitl did their thing. I still don't trust their crease, but I think you look at Washington, they're still getting no love. The way they disposed of a red-hot Montreal Canadiens team in 5 games in round 1. Carolina's a good team, but I think the biggest key in this series will be the crease. And I hate to say it, but Freddie Anderson, that guy's allergic to playoff hockey. You just never know what you're going to get from Kochetkov. And Logan Thompson, you guys want a deep play for Conn Smythe winner? How about Thompson? I mean, he's a guy who I think was sniffing around in the Vezina conversation for the majority of the season. Yeah. Round 1, 2.23. 923. So I think it's really, really good value in the Washington Capitals in that series against Carolina here.
I love that angle. We have like 45 seconds left here. And I said this in the previous segment. Sounds dumb to say. I want to go contrarian with the Jets. They have home ice, President's Trophy winner, and they're a huge dog at home, in my opinion, and nobody's going to pick them.
Yeah. Exactly, and this is irony because in round one, nobody picked the Dallas Stars, and they're missing Heiskanen, they're missing Jason Robertson, and now you look at the Winnipeg Jets, Morrissey's banged up, Scheifele's banged up. I was torn. Of the 4 series to handicap, the most difficult for me, I think something you could look at for sure. If you believe Winnipeg is now a team of destiny, considering what happened here in Game 7, can I interest you in Connor Hellebuyck figuring this thing out in the Stanley Cup playoffs? And maybe you take a look at a Connor Hellebuyck, Conn Smythe look, because I think we know the magic formula is goaltending. So I would look at that. Mikko Rantanen, I love the revenge angle last series against Colorado. Maybe he's a look to win the Hart Trophy, in conversation with the Conn Smythe too, more so the Conn Smythe. So there's different routes you could take with that respective series, and we'll see what happens here, guys.
Hey, Nick, that was a great spot. Enjoy the game tonight.
My pleasure, guys. Take care.
There you go. Be good.
Thank
there
you.
You go. Nick Alberga on the Progressive Guest Line.
I'm seeing Hellebuyck, Thompson, a DK 40-1.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Not bad.
Win-lose up next. Books had to get destroyed on Friday. Paulie will tell you why coming up next.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort Casino. 2 games tonight in the NBA. Round 2 of the playoffs. These series are beginning. One in the West, one in the East, of course, the Celtics and the Knicks. And it's always a pleasure to talk to our next guest as the legendary Bob Ryan joins the program now, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Bob, thanks so much for the time as always. Pleasure.
You are welcome.
So, when you look at this series in the regular season, it did not go well for the New York Knicks, and that's an understatement. When they played the first 3 games, they were all before February, and they were all double-digit blowout wins for Boston. They played again in April. How much did that game really mean to Boston? They won by 2 points. So a sweep there in the regular season, and a really bad matchup for the Knicks overall. You've been doing this for a long, long time. When a team dominates an opponent over the regular season and then they meet again in the playoffs, how much stock do you put that into a series?
I'm putting minimal stock into this because the Celtics are smart enough to know that what happened in opening night and even what happened in January is not that relevant to how the other team is playing now and how they are playing now. And throw out the 4th game because the Celtics weren't interested in that game, and they're lucky they won that game. And the Knicks know that. Both teams are saying the right things, you know what I mean, quote unquote, both of them. The Knicks know the task ahead of them, but they have some confidence in themselves and coming off, and how they're playing. And the Celtics are not naive. This is a veteran team. Think about the Celtics for a second. Of all the guys who matter on the team, the guy with the least amount of playing experience has 5 years, and that's Pritchard. The 2 core players are in their prime, Tatum and Brown. The guards are each over 30. And then they've got Uncle Al, the big brother in the locker room, and throw in Cornette, who by the way is underrated and is a very useful backup center. So anyway, the Celtics know the history. They're going to get schooled. They're going to go out there and with no overconfidence. I'm very certain. I think it's not going to be a sweep. It's either going to be a 5. Or what I call a gentleman's 6, and the Celtics winning Game 6 in New York. I would be surprised if it's anything but.
Okay, so what is relevant, though, is the issues that the Knicks had defensively and not being able to slow them down from three, and the Celtics set the record for makes and attempts in the regular season. Do you think there's any way that Thibodeau can get stops and they can defend a little bit like Orlando did from beyond the three, at the three?
Not much that I can think of. I think, frankly, they're going to have to outscore them.
Okay.
That's my guess. I don't see the Knicks having the matchups at all. I think what I'm looking for the Knicks standpoint is getting. If they don't get this, there's no chance. I want Towns. I want Towns to come up. I think Towns can be a very good secondary guy for Brunson. Mm-hmm. He and Porzingis on paper are quite similar at 7 feet guys that can shoot threes, but Towns can really shoot threes. And I think if he plays up to his potential, it'll be a reasonably competitive series for most of the time. I think he's the key guy. But I don't see, we all know that they picked up both Anunoby and Bridges over the last 2 years in the hopes ultimately that they could match up against Tatum and Brown. And of course, it hasn't worked out at all so far. And I don't see any evidence it's going to work out the way they thought it would at all. I think their hope's going to be Brunson is uncontrollable for maybe, and Towns will rise up. That's the only chances they have, I think.
You led right into my next question, Bob, and thanks for bringing that up because on paper, the Knicks do have a couple of guys that should be able to match up on the perimeter with Tatum and Brown. But, I mean, Tatum is a man on a mission. He absolutely scorched the Magic in the final 3 games of that series, and he averaged 33-plus points per game against the Knicks in the regular season. So how do they slow down this guy?
I don't know how. Frankly, the guy, I hope he's really good. He's really, really, really good, and he is, as you say, on a mission kind of thing. He gets better every year. He's got the championship belt now, and he's just a tremendous player. When you talk about the transcendent players in the league, and we all know we've got Jokic and we've got Doncic and we've got Antetokounmpo, and right then and there, right there is Tatum. With a range of skill and now the experience and both ends of the floor. He's improved his passing over the years to where he's an excellent distributor. Last year he demonstrated a capacity for traffic defensive rebounding that he had not shown before. There's no holes left in his game, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. What happens next year with the payroll and what they do to the roster in light of the sale?
Yeah. I stay out of that right now. I mean, I leave that to the people that have to fill airtime. I'm serious. I don't care. I mean, we know it's out there. We know the second apron, the dreaded apron, and we know all that. Yes, it's coming. What? It is. How can I possibly be worried about that now, a couple of hours before tip-off on a much-anticipated series? I don't get involved in that. Like, I'm not being condescending there, but seriously, I just go to the experts when time comes. I've never been very interested in all these payroll stories to start with ever in my whole history, and certainly this one. It's not the time to worry about it. I can't believe people are worrying about it right now. Let's just go play, and when the season's over, and start thinking about it. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it right now. There's nothing. Why would anybody want to fret about this? I mean, anybody being fans and media. I mean, the team, all right, they got to worry about it, but we don't have to worry about it.
I saw you on a podcast last week. You were asked about the likability factor of this team, how the city loves this team, and all your years covering the team. You think that's true? Yes.
I mean, there's no known deviance on this team. There's no but guys. The closest thing anybody has to a nitpick right now, individually, is Brown sometimes goes off. He still doesn't use his left hand very well. He does have a tendency at times to dribble into needless traffic. If that's the only criticism you've got of your primary 8 guys, serious criticism, you're doing pretty well. I mean, what are you going to complain about? I mean, sometimes they take too many threes. Well, who doesn't in this league? It's a 3-point world that we all inhabit. They all inhabit now. Sometimes I get a little exasperated with them. Sometimes there's too much dribbling. What team doesn't have it? They all do. I remember watching last night. I figured, Sengun. Sengun gets a rebound. He brings it up. He chose 20 seconds or so on the 24, and before he takes an awful, stupid traffic fall away. This is the world that they all play in now. So, it's exasperating. But anyway, back to the Celtics. that's the closest thing to a complaint. They are a team you can totally root for on and off the floor.
Well said.
Yeah. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Bob Ryan, legendary sports writer in Boston. How much trouble do you think the Cavs might be in after yesterday?
I think they'll a little wake-up call kind of thing. Maybe the Pacers are good. I didn't expect it to be a sweep or anything like that. I think the Cavs are going to have to go a hard 6 to get this done. The Pacers, the Pacers believe in themselves. They're well coached. They, of course, they've got guys who can rise up. I mean, Halliburton's capable of hitting you with 40 any given night. Siakam is established himself as a terrific player. The big people are for real. No, I like the team. I think it's going to be a really fun, good series, a good hard-nosed basketball series. I think Camp 2 is going to be terrific because that the Cavaliers will recognize that they can't mess around in that game. So I'm not remotely surprised that Indiana would rise up, and whether they won the game or not, they were going to give them a lot of trouble.
I thought you were fantastic in Celtic City. Were you happy, and do you think they did a great job with all 9 episodes on HBO?
You can't do everything, and you can't please them all 100% of the time. If you live through it, and I've lived through it, there were some things I would have liked to have seen emphasized a little more, perhaps. But in the big picture, they accomplished their mission. Bill Simmons accomplished his mission, I think, to tell this story and flesh it out. And I think he did a fantastic job. I think the editing is just awesome. All the footage that they were able to assemble and the way that thing was put together was masterful. And it was an honor for me to be any remote part of it. And I think that Simmons should take a big bow, and all the people that have anything to do with it. It was really, really nice.
Well, great to talk to you, sir. I loved it, and thanks for a few minutes, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bob.
It's well done if you want to check it out on HBO. And I didn't want to like it going in. And
why not? Did you hate the Celtics, or?
Well, yeah, I was more of a Laker guy, but I also knew one of the reasons they did it was because Simmons is a Celtic fan, and there was a lot of Lakers documentaries and Lakers stuff floating around.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's why, and also they wanted to kind of do their own Last Dance. But he's right. I can't believe some of the footage they have and interviews and stuff with Russell, and was it well done. So
you brought up the idea there of a 6-game series against the Knicks.
I can't get there. I can't.
We have a guest later on who's very strong on that.
Well, he's right about Cat, and I know you've been all over this. You got to get aggressive, Cat. Cat has got.
And he might be, but I'm not betting on him again.
But right. He's probably right. They're going to have to outscore him. So if you want over 213.5, because it did not. They've lost 8 of 9 to these guys, and I know what happened this year too. But look at what the scores were, and look what they got. Anything they wanted offensively,
I know.
And the Knicks were unable to guard them, especially Tatum, and they got anything off they wanted from 3. And then I would think Holiday, who's good, can contain Brunson.
I'm not a big fan of betting overs this time of year in the NBA, but that feels like a pretty manageable number to make a case for the over in that game tonight. I haven't bet it yet. Mm-hmm. I'm considering it.
Well, I also like, too, make these guys work like Detroit did. Make these guys work on defense and tire them out.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They put Cat in 134 pick and rolls in the matchups. Number 1 in the league by far.
Great coaching.
It was. It was. And he only attempted 11 threes against Boston. That's not going to get it done either. He's got to hit them. He's got to take them. And the big boy, the Knicks went 0-10 against Boston, OKC, and the Cavs combined.
Go check out the betting splits. You can become a VSiN Pro subscriber right now at vsin.com/subscribe for as low as $9.99 per month. You can see where the action's coming in tonight at DraftKings and Circa on that game and also the other game in the NBA.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. Busy hour coming up here and Follow the Money. We'll go rapid fire, MLB, and the playoff card that we have coming up tonight. In-pocket plays coming up at the back end. Here we begin as a professional sports bettor. Paul Bovey joins the program. He comes into town for a couple of days, and he is kind enough to carve out a few minutes here to join us in studio. Thanks, pal. How are you?
Hey, it's great to be here. We missed you on Saturday, so Paulie got all the attention from the groupies, and you weren't there. So
well, that's fine.
Anyway,
I'm married. He's not, so that makes sense. Yeah,
okay.
right.
I brought the dog. He was He was having fun.
How was the reaction? Good?
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah.
He's excited with all the food. And there's a lot going on. So, but he did the best that he could. Jordan did a pretty good job.
Okay, so let's set this up. You are from New York, and you are a Knicks fan. You had? What is it?
I have.
You still have?
I have.
And how far season tickets to the Knicks going back how long?
Since 1988, I started with 2 up in the blue section, progressed down to the green, and at one point had 8. I had 6 and a couple seats behind me, and it was a great time. I mean, look, I can complain all I want. All I know is I'm a lot closer to expiration than when the Knicks last won the finals. Okay, so I'm hoping that we get some love here, maybe this year, maybe in next year, but at some point in my lifetime.
That's incredible. You were able to hang on to him. There were some lean years. So as we're about to talk about, you had Patrick Ewing. You were right there with the Jordan Bulls. You made a couple finals appearances, but you haven't made the conference finals since 2000. So that once when Isaiah got involved, for you to hang on, you had to have probably take some losses.
Well, yes, I was hemorrhaging money for a while. And I actually had Rangers also, and I gave up the Rangers, and that was a mistake. Because the Rangers have been cash cows. The Knicks, yes, hemorrhaging money for many years. I mean, we had Linsanity. That wasn't bad. Then we had a couple good years around 2012. But, for the most part, it's just been a lot of nothing. Now, you tend to hang on to the past. And the past was the 90s, and you're expecting that to repeat. It never repeated. Mm-hmm. But as I said, that was an epic decade. I saw coaches hanging on legs, 4-point plays, layups missed under the basket. We all know who we're talking about. And a 2 for 18, we could have gotten over the hump against Houston, but John Starks just didn't come through for us. So.
Right.
Okay, so the 4 regular season games did not go well, but you know what? They're also in the past.
Yes.
I'm having a tough time, though. I'm hanging on to the past to what happened this year. And I can't see a path to the Knicks making this an interesting series. I think it might be a terrible matchup for this team. You see it a different way. Why?
All right, first of all, I'll go to last year. We lose 4 out of 5. But here's the key point. Anunoby comes in for the last game. We acquired him, obviously. It's a completely different team. No Barrett, okay? And we obviously bring over some key players this year. Towns, Anunoby, Bridges, it's a different club. Now, in game 1 this year, the Celtics, 29 of 61 from beyond the arc. But that doesn't tell the story because at one point they were 29 of 48 midway through the 4th. Now, you're not going to win a basketball game. They actually missed the last 13 in an attempt to break a record. Okay, so I throw that one out. The second one, Anunoby did not play. What I didn't mention is the Knicks were 26-5 last year with him in the lineup. They were a losing team before they acquired him. So throw the second game out. The third game, look, there's some credibility there. Full lineups. The Celtics win by 13. And in the final game, the Knicks lose in overtime, 119-117. They blow 6 out of 16 free throws, and that ultimately cost them the game. But I do believe that they can compete. One thing I did not point out, when Anunoby came over for that last game last year, Jason Tatum, 5 of 13 from the field. I do like Anunoby, by the way, under his point total, because in the last 4 games against the Celtics, 4, 8, 12 and 13 points. So he's the consummate team player. He will sacrifice personal statistics for the sake of the team and to play defense. And I think he can get the job done.
Follow the money. Paulie and Mitch VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Paul Bovey, our guest, pro sports bettor for years, was on Wall Street and Knicks fan. So you think the $8 series price is outrageous. And Bob Ryan was on earlier, the legend, and said the Knicks are going to have to outscore them. Thinks they could go 6. It comes down to Cat, though, too. Don't you agree? Mitch mentioned Tatum 4-1 to lead in rebounds, most rebounds in the series. If I don't get aggressive Cat, and that's on both ends. Like if this is a disappearing act, and he's not active down low, he's not taking threes, and he's not doing much on the glass, then what? Because then I have to depend on Brunson like I did for much of the Detroit series.
Yeah, but it's better than depending on Precious Achiuwa, who played last year when we had guys out. The key is we have a healthy squad. I was there for that debacle, Game 7 last year in Indiana. It hurt, man.
Sure.
It really did.
You would have won, though, but everyone got hurt. It was tough.
We had at one point late in the game 85 points missing from the lineup. So to answer your question, look, Towns stepped up when he had to against Detroit. He hit some miraculous shots, no doubt. We got guys that can step up. If one guy doesn't show, somebody else will. We now have a full lineup, and I believe they can get it done. We have Mitchell Robinson back in the fold, and he's critical. He's a rim protector, and that's what we need. So I'm looking for him to compete. I did take the plus 2.5
games.
Yeah.
At what number?
I got over 5.5 games. I got plus 124, and then I played it here about 2 hours ago at plus 120.
Okay. You know, the same thing can be said, though, about the Celtics. If, in fact, Tatum has a series that's not typical Jason Tatum, which I think he's going to have a great series anyway, they got 6-7 guys that will kill you.
Absolutely. But the key to beating the Celtics is this. If you could stay remotely close to their three-point conversions, you could beat the Celtics. I mean, you look at this.
Can they do what Orlando did, which was limit the threes? Orlando did a good job. I don't know if they can.
They did a good job.
Yeah.
They did. But the Knicks, unlike Orlando from beyond the arc, can fill it up from three.
Yes,
Yeah.
certainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would also say that, you know what? I kind of think that I want the Celtics forcing up 50-plus threes a game. Because I hate it when they play like that every single night. And that can come back and bite them. Sure, they'll have a game where they hit 25 of them. They might have 3 games where they hit 16 of them.
Absolutely. Look, we know that three-point shooting decides a lot of these series and games. Jamal Murray comes in, Game 6, 8 of 14 from beyond the arc. Buddy Hield yesterday, 9 of 11. Buddy Hield came in in Game 7. He had hit 9 of 31. How are you going to win a game? Okay? Just over the top.
Look at Game 1 yesterday.
What?
Look at Game 1 yesterday, too.
Game 1 yesterday.
Indiana was 53%. Cleveland was 23%.
19 of 36 versus 9 of 38.
Hello.
Cleveland, the second best three-point shooting team in the league at 38.3. But I will point out that Cleveland had 70 points in the paint. 36 made field goals inside the arc, 35 of them inside the paint. That is not a recipe for winning basketball when it comes to Indiana. Miles Turner better get to the rim.
So what do you think about the point spread tonight now? Celtics laying 9, and by the way, the total did tick up. It's sitting at about 214 now. So money is coming in here, an hour or so before game time on the over?
Look, you know where I'm going. I'm good. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Don't pay any attention to me because I'm going to give you just, my opinion's going to be the Knicks. But we'll see what happens. I'm a fan. I have an economic interest, but I really do believe from the ladder, financially, I do think the Knicks can compete this year. It's a different team.
Okay.
Hope you're right. Hope it's a competitive series. You have a photographic memory? Because you don't have any notes.
No, I don't.
We just rattled off 100 stats. You don't have anything in front of you.
I don't need notes. I don't need that. Okay, give me your credit card. I'll just store it. And,
if you look at you need to look at the box score of any game. How many times?
Once, maybe twice. Okay.
And it's tattooed?
It's kind of. I do have a pretty good memory. So
yeah, because you've been on this show a handful of times. You've been on other shows a zillion times, and you never have anything in front of you ever. I used to be like that when I was 12.
Okay.
But the brain cells are long gone.
You could look at a box score once and it was good?
Oh, that and like league leaders, I had everything memorized one time. But that's that's a long time ago now.
Okay, we're all blessed with certain talents. And
that is talent.
Well, come on.
Okay.
Give yourself some credit.
All right, dude.
Come on.
I'm a humble guy. What can I say?
I want to. We'll have to go down a dark path though coming up here too. about what's going to happen. What happened last year?
We'll get some horse racing tips because you love betting the ponies as well. Did you have the Super? Did you have the Try? Did you have anything?
So I play head-to-head matchups.
Okay.
I look forward to these marquee races because they post them. They didn't post a lot of them this weekend.
Tough to find.
But they posted them. They posted enough of them on Derby Day where I was just fixated on all of them and came up with 3 really good ones.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right. So maybe some tips then to the Preakness or beyond coming up here with professional bettor Paul Bovey. Do you own a piece of any horses?
Not now.
Oh, you have before?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Was it worth the time?
It was fun. It's expensive.
That's what I hear. Yeah. So
Ask
more with
Massaro.
Paul. More coming up next with Paul. He made it very deep last year in Survivor, only to be knocked out by a massive upset. Is he over that loss yet? And what does he think of the Westgate adding a $5,000 Survivor contest?
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue with pro bettor Paul Bovey in studio here on a Monday. Mike Somich was on with us on Friday. He did give out the Super, which was great. Chris Massaro also had the Super. You were talking about that right before the break, about how you like betting matchups in horse racing. You can expand on that.
Yeah, I do. First of all, pari-mutuel betting is one of the most difficult things or components of sports to beat. Why? The takeout is exorbitant. So unless you can get a rebate, which I do, you're not going to have a shot to really beat it. And when I'm talking a shot, I'm talking 99, 96, 97% of the bettors out there. Matchups pit one horse against another horse. And when you're talking about the Kentucky Derby with 20 horses in the race, there is a lot of racing luck. Now, I did have Medina Spirit. It was one of my biggest bets ever a few years ago. I was fortunate. And then I got beat by Rich Strike up the rail. I still watch the overhead, and I'm mesmerized as how this horse can come from the back and win that race. Cost me 5 figures. But when you play matchups, first of all, you're kind of beating the takeout, because if you have 10-cent matchups, which I know South Point did, because I saw Vinny today, and I looked online, you have a better shot than if you're working with a 17, 18% takeout, plus racing luck, which kicks in a 20-horse field. So I identified 3 matchups on Saturday. And one of them was the 8-horse Journalism over Sandman. You know, Frank walks in to we're sitting in the Westgate, and he goes, "What do you like in matchups?" I go, "Fade Sandman." He hit 3 out of 4 of them. Sandman actually was last and closed and ran a reasonable race. But, you know, I had the Journalism over Sandman. I laid money, I laid juice. I oftentimes don't do that, but it seemed too easy, and I laid up to 300 and stopped. And it was a great win, and I played a few more. So you're playing 10 cents on each side. It's one horse against the other, and the biggest problem is sometimes you don't know your fate until well after the race because they don't post the order of finish. So you're sitting there on pins and needles. I don't care about the top 3 or 4. I want to know who finished 12th, 13th, 14th, because that's what's going to determine a win or a loss.
If I would ask you pet peeves you have, is that top of the list about why some of that stuff isn't available, and why is it hard to find a matchup?
Absolutely. It wasn't available here. I mean, the last couple of years, they had matchups on the Kentucky Oaks. I checked a few of the books here, no matchups. Unfortunately, I was able to get it. I was able to find it. And I found quite a selection. But sometimes in Vegas, I don't know. I'm not sure why they're not as aggressive as they should be. And maybe they should consider just kind of expanding these types of things.
The person you mentioned was Frank B., who's been on this show many times. Frank's excellent, pro sports bettor, sharp guy. Did you have a discussion with Frank about the $5,000 Survivor buy-in down the street?
No, I didn't, but I know Frank has always gone into the, the contest that Westgate offers with the $5,000 on the, what is it, gold?
Gold.
Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I expect him to, to go in there. Personally, I probably will. I think what Derek has done here is just utterly fantastic. 14,000 entries last year, and you're probably going to see upwards of 20 now that it's gotten so much publicity, so much press, and you're going to have consortiums coming in. Even though you're limited to 10, it's going to be Joe and his brother-in-law and his sister-in-law, and they're all going to lump together, and try to take a piece out. So the good thing is, as someone that enters, you only have to win. You can compete with those people, but you're going to be at a disadvantage. I mean, you want to go in with at least 6-7 entries, and to have a reasonable shot at it.
Mm-hmm. How many you went in with? How many last year?
I went in with 9, and I got knocked out on 2 earlier on 2 really unfortunate games. I actually took the Giants against Washington. They never punted, but they didn't have a kicker. Okay? Okay, and then I actually tried to sneak in the Patriots over Seattle. They had a lead with a couple seconds to go. Yeah. Seahawks tie it, overtime. Seattle wins the game. Okay, I got cute, lost an entry, lost another one, but ultimately ended up with 2, lost one on Cincinnati at home. Joe Burrow played giveaway, and then I lose my last one under circumstances which still makes my head spin the next to last week of the season.
Yeah, so you're not over it yet. You had the Colts against the Giants, your team. Again, you talked about this earlier. You had season tickets to the Rangers and the Knicks. You probably had season tickets to the Yankees and the Giants as well at some point in your life.
I still have Giants.
There you go.
I still have Giants. Been to the stadium once. I'll never go back again. Okay, never go back. The new stadium. But I actually had messaged my proxy, Maddie, and I said, "What's the deadline for the Chargers-Patriots game?" And he gives me the deadline, and then I end up submitting the Colts. So he messages me back 10 minutes before the deadline for the Charger-Patriots game. And he goes to me, "You sure you want the Colts?" Well, that should have been my Meg Ryan moment, like the sign. And I stuck with the Colts, and that's it. How long did it take me to get over it? I'm not fully over it. I would say romantically 3 days, returning phone calls 10 days, and cold sweats maybe a month. And then here I am, okay, and I still think about it. I still think about that Saturday and why I didn't go with the Chargers. But if I take any solace out of this, I would have lost the last week because I had Atlanta left over Carolina.
Okay.
But I will tell you that I would have played Carolina's team total for the max. I would have played it because that's how I was hedging along the way.
You showed me those tickets, yeah.
Yeah, I was hedging with team totals, and I would have grabbed a halftime play on the Panthers and taken out at least $400,000, but didn't work out.
And it had nothing to do with the money. It was the prestige and notoriety.
Yes, no, it has at that level. It has something to do with the money, but I'm a guy that likes to win. Winning is everything, So, when I'm not gonna need the money, but I'm gonna need to erase the memory of losing Survivor in the next to last week, and that's not something I'm gonna be able to do.
Take a shot at how many people you think will get into the $5,000 contest.
I would say 77,000.
What?
Yeah.
7,000?
Well, there's 14,000 here last year. You're still going to have groups in there. What do you, maybe 6,000? What do you think?
In the $5,000 entry?
Yeah.
Oh, you're way high.
They said they told us they're rooting for like 200 people to get to $1 million.
200
I
people?
think it goes over 200 easy. Yeah, you can get 10 each. Get 10.
Well, I mean, come on. There's going to be groups that go in there. Is there a guarantee? I didn't even.
I don't think so.
Okay. I mean, I just think there's going to be a couple thousand. I mean, guys like sharp guys are going to step in there and try to avoid this one, which is going to turn into a landmine. You know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they haven't had their say either. I mean, they're going to decide.
Yeah,
They're going to come out with what they're going to do May 22nd.
Yeah, Derek's an innovator. He's going to do something.
Yeah. But you're right. When we get up to 20,000, if it gets to 20 here, and most people expect that.
Yeah.
About what you're going up against.
Right.
Great.
All right.
Great run last year. Incredible run.
Yeah.
Sorry
was
it didn't
great.
work out.
You know, I wasn't even watching these games. I was leaving the house with 5 minutes to go. I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, we were watching a game in October at Stadium Swim. I was still alive. You were alive. You had to leave the game like in the first quarter at halftime. Irish goodbye. Where's Paul? I don't know.
No, I remember that day because I was having a horrible day, just selection-wise, and I was so upset with it. I just, sometimes I just bail. I know this is just, some guys do this, whatever,
It's all right. No problem.
Great to see you again.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Good
my
luck.
pleasure.
Good luck. I hope you're right about your Knicks. I hope you cash some tickets. Big one tonight. Edge Boost. Earn cash back rewards and no usage cost. The card never declined. You love what you're doing. Get paid for it. You love the bet. Sign up today. Edgeboost.bet. Promo code FTM. Never wait. You don't have to wait for that wire or the outrageous ATM fees if you go over your limit. Financial platform for smart bettors. Edge Boost. Sign up today. Get it now. Edgeboost.bet. Promo code FTM. Get that free money.
Good note there, by the way. You were hedging in Survivor by taking the other team's team total over. Good strategy.
Actually, I won that. Remember the Eagle-Carolina game?
Yeah.
I won that by, I think, a half a point or a point and collected both.
Yeah, you
Eagles
did.
win,
Yeah.
Carolina team total over.
Yeah. Rapid fire Major League Baseball card in the playoffs tonight as well, next year on VSiN.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.